What are your views on homelessness?
Clearly it's something that we should try and reduce or eliminate if possible.
Yeah.
It's something which fortunately in Sutton is not a huge problem. In central London it's a much bigger problem. I was talking to someone earlier today and they reckon there are something like between 5 and 10 people in Sutton who are homeless, who sleep rough.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd say is that homelessness, there are different definitions of it.
Yeah.
It can mean simply sleeping on the streets or sleeping in a park, and there are people who do that. Sometimes it actually means someone perhaps who is having to sofa surf. In other words, they sleep on a friend's sofa,
Yeah.
and then when the friend has enough of them, they move on and sleep on someone else's sofa for a while. So there are different definitions of it.
Thank you. What has been done to reduce homelessness in our local area?
Well, what I just referred to was this initiative which involved a number of different players, so Sutton Council, the local churches, really them working together to identify whether there was a big problem and see whether they wanted to provide perhaps a place that people could go. And I think they decided that because the level of homelessness was so small, that they didn't want to do what has happened in other parts of London, for instance, where the churches have got together with other partners like the local council, and they have provided, perhaps what they've said is that people can go to one church for, say, that night,
Yeah.
and then they could go to another church the following night and another church after that would run between, say, November, December, January and February, the
Yeah.
coldest periods. They decided not to do that in Sutton because they didn't think there was a high enough demand for it, and also they were worried that if they did provide it, that perhaps more people would perhaps come to Sutton and use that
Yeah.
facility.
What has been done to reduce homelessness as a whole in the UK?
Well, there is a focus, a government focus on this, and the principal initiative is the No Second Night Out initiative. So in other words, if they find someone who is sleeping rough, that they will guarantee that for the second night they will find somewhere for them to live, a hostel
Yeah.
place, for instance. So that's where the main focus has gone. And in Sutton, we have an organisation called Thames Reach, which will actively go out and talk to homeless people. There was a period a couple of years ago where there were a couple of people sleeping rough in Wallington Square,
Yeah.
and Thames Reach did go and talk to them and found ways of helping them to ensure that they didn't have to sleep on the streets.
Do you think the government see homelessness as a big issue in society?
Well, I'm a member of the government, I'm a minister in government, and yes, we do think it's a very significant problem. Often homelessness hides a lot of other problems.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's mental health problems, it's drink or alcohol, drink or drugs problems that have led to homelessness. Often, unfortunately, they're ex-service personnel, people who served in the army. So yes, it is a big problem. There's a big cost attached to it in terms of the human terms, the impact on that person. But equally for society as a whole, potentially there's a big cost in terms of the health service, in terms of crime. So yes, it is a significant issue for the government, and we recognise that.
How are the government addressing the issue currently, and what are their plans to reduce it for the future?
Okay, well this time, now I'm going to have to refer to my note that was helpfully, which has got some real facts in it. So we've passed on £400 million to local authorities, that's local councils, to help them deal with homelessness. And there was a further 70 million that was announced last year to help that. And the government there's a report called Making Every Contact Count, which is a joint approach to tackling homelessness, and that's got 5 specific commitments in it that as a government we've made. So that's tackling troubled childhoods and adolescence, improving health, reducing involvement in crime, improving access to financial advice, and pioneering mechanisms to ways of supporting exciting projects to deal with homelessness.
Do you think there should be more funding from governments to help run food bank projects?
Well, I visited a food bank earlier today, as it happens, so we have one in Sutton, Sutton Food Bank, which I just tweeted about. Okay, we're going to see them. It is an initiative that's been running for a number of years. It's not something that's just popped up in the last couple of years. I've been involved with them for longer than that. So obviously it's regrettable that we have to have food banks, but I think they are an important service for people, and they provide a service that's not just about providing food to people, but also what they do, and you'll see this when you go and visit them, is they sit down with the people and ask them questions about their circumstances, and often able to help them perhaps get additional benefits if they're in need of benefits, sometimes help them to find housing if they've not got housing. So it's not just about food, actually it's also about identifying what needs they might have, and they provide a free meal at the Sutton Food Bank for the first time someone comes. And often what they do is they will get people who are homeless or who are receiving food from the food bank to get involved in the cafe project that they've got there, to help build up their perhaps their work skills if they're trying to get back to work after a number of years out of work.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.